So when I was in the hospital, they told me that I had really high vitamin B12 levels. So a couple of weeks ago, I stopped taking extra B12 because I was getting it from multiple supplements. And for a while, I was fine. But then I started going downhill really bad, getting very depressed and everything. So maybe I just needed the high levels. I just took another one, and it made me feel better. Um, I've been listening to the different lectures and stuff, um, and thinking about how all the religions, they come from basically the same source, but there are different truths, different masks being used by the different beings. As I'm trying to learn what these different energies are called in Vaughn, I don't think of the different masks, the different suits, the different ways, make them different. Just like Vairocana wasn't Shakyamuni Buddha, but he was an emanation of him. And so you got him talking to a group of people that he was there for. And you got Sengye Tampa Shenrab talking to a different group of people for a different reason. And so you've got a group of people who understand maybe better the unity of the source of religion, the lack of need to label the different things. And then you have other people that, the labels are very important. I was talking to Gabby today about the story about how all the world systems are an atom in the Buddha's hand. And I left out the name Buddha. But, another thing I don't think about the iconography, the Tibetan iconography. I don't worry about it. I don't think about how it might look to other people when I'm living in a world where, diaper man on a stick, how that looks to people, how sinister that looks to people, And I know better than to say that to people, but, when you look at that, some people look at that, all they see is, salvation or love or something like that. And when we look at our things, we don't see people having sex. We see the unity of wisdom and emptiness, for example. And so it's difficult when people point it out how it appears to them and how they think about it and stuff like that. And these conflicts don't need to happen. But, when I was kind of in the thick of not feeling very good and kind of telling Janice that she was going to need to back off because if she kept taking up for me, I think she had talked to somebody that if she kept taking up for me, that she was going to get hurt really bad. So I said, Jesus was Moloch. Okay, but let's explain that one, and I know she didn't follow through with the explanation. But Moloch Moloch never broke into anybody's house and took anybody's children out of their house. Moloch sat in a specific area, and children were brought to him. And he was told that he needed to take them to his happy la-la land, because no matter how bad things were there, it was better for them there. And they had learned what kinds of kids had no place in society. People could divorce if they were childless. People could marry pretty easy. And there was actually kind of an industry, kind of like Muta marriage, in which the children were then, part of the severance package because they would pay for them. But see, Moloch was real, and he thought that these people were making a promise that they would eventually have a world where there would be room for these kids, where they wouldn't make them. They didn't want to be blamed for what they'd done. There was no wrongdoing on them. There was no wrongdoing on the child. It's just that the child was going to be a victim of society. And so he came back saying, look, time's running out. We got to do this thing for the kids right now. But, people don't follow through with these kinds of thoughts. They just say, you're saying Jesus is actually a demon? And, well, yeah. A rather twisted one after you guys crucified him, but... but, so... there are these things that, when you get into extreme non-duality and stuff, and say, it's not a good idea to get involved in casual conversation with me. My guru used to put a blanket over his head when it wasn't a good idea to talk to him. When he was doing something that you shouldn't really approach him, he would just put a blanket over his head. And people learned that it just wasn't a good day to talk to him. Because he would say things that it wouldn't be wrong, it wouldn't be false, but it would be upsetting to people around him. And, when he wasn't feeling particularly compassionate either. Because sometimes we get, like, I can't be the Buddha every day. And that was another thing that she took wrong. We all have the Buddha nature in us, and we all try to be speak the Buddha's way and stuff like that. But it's not possible for us to do it every day because we're not the Buddha. And expecting people to be the Buddha on any given day is expecting too much from them. But this is the world that's imperfect, and that's going to happen.